All right, welcome back, everyone. We are episode 12 now of the AVID Investor Podcast with me, your host, Josh Adamek. And today we're going to talk about the importance of using professionals. It's an absolute must to work with and to use professionals. If you're in real estate, if you're in business, if you're in any type of business, you have to work with and use professionals. And here's why. So I've seen this many, many times over the years. Where I'm in these different Facebook groups and these different these different groups where you see new investors coming on board, or you see someone starting to get into the business, and they're starting to ask people, hey, do you have a lease I can use? Do you have a contractor's agreement that I can use? Does anybody have an option agreement? So people are asking, in random people in networking groups for legal documents. It's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Number one, you have to run, if you're going to be in the business, you have to run your business like a business. It's an absolute must. It leads down to proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's an old saying that I refer back to many, many times. If you're going to run a business, you have to be properly prepared so that you don't have poor performance. And an absolute must when you're in real estate, when you're in business, is one, you have to have a good attorney. You have to work with an attorney. And I'm not talking about legal battles. I'm not talking about somebody that's going to represent you in a lawsuit or anything like that. Will you have to deal with things like that if you're in the business? Yeah, maybe. That's just the world that we live in. But more so, you need a real estate attorney that's going to help you, set your business up and build the foundation, set the foundation for success. And, you might say, well, I already have documents. I bought this course. I invested in this course. I bought this coaching program or whatever, and it has all the documents that I need. Yes, maybe it does, but are those state-specific documents? Each state has different laws regarding real estate and investments, what you can do and what you can't do. So it's very important that, if you're going to be, I keep talking about Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania because that's where I'm at, that's where we're at, that's where we invest. But if you're going to invest in real estate in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, do you want to use documents that were created in Florida or Texas or California? Those documents may work just fine in those states, and they may be state specific, or they may work just fine in those states, but they may not comply with Pennsylvania law. So if you have documents, if you have a package of what you feel you need to run and operate your business, you don't have to necessarily pay a state-specific attorney to create all new documents, but bare minimum, have your attorney review those documents and sign off on them and say and tell you, yes, those are compliant, yes, those are up to date, yes, those are what you need. Have that attorney redline those documents, or modify those documents so that they are state-specific. Again, proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you invest a little bit of time, effort, and energy on the front end. It'll save you, down the road, because if there's an issue down the road, that same attorney is going to represent you, or help you work through the issues that you may be dealing with at the time. So why not have that attorney create those documents, review those documents, sign off on those documents, so that you're prepared ahead of time for what you may have to deal with down the road. So that's a big thing, documents. Another big thing is corporate setup. If you're going to be in the business, run your business like a business, set up a business. Do you have to do it right out of the gate if you don't have one property? Maybe not. Again, consult with your attorney, see what your plans are, review, do strategy sessions, see what your plans and your goals are. Does it make sense to set up an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, operate as a sole proprietor? Talk with your attorney and talk with a real estate attorney. If you're going to be in the business of investing in real estate, make sure you're dealing with an attorney that understands and knows real estate. If you don't have an attorney, it's not hard to find one. Again, I've talked about, our group in the past, the group that I volunteer to help run. It's Acre of Pittsburgh. if you need some contacts, there's a number of vendors that are real estate attorneys. If you don't, if you're not a part of that group, or if you're not in Pittsburgh, just find your local RIA. Again, look at nationalria.com. It'll show a list of subchapters. Go online, Google Real Estate Investors Association. Find a group that's in your area, close to your area. I would recommend finding a group that's a subchapter of National RIA. There's many groups out there, so those are some resources to find attorneys. If not, ask around. I'm sure if you're looking to get into the business, you probably know somebody that's already in the business. So see who they use for an attorney, see who they recommend. That's a big thing. Doc prep, corporate setup, and then having the attorney, review, any sort of, possible agreements or partnerships or things like that that you might get involved with. It's important to have that review and have that approval on the front end to save you from any potential, help save you from potential issues, down the road. So that's a big thing. Highly recommend, work with an attorney, a state specific attorney. My opinion, if you're from a different state and you've moved to, Pennsylvania, or wherever you're living now, have a local attorney on your side, on your team, that is in town, that understands your local laws and regulations regarding whatever type of business you're in. So that's it for attorneys. Next big thing for me is general contractors, subcontractors, handyman. If you're going to be in the business, if you're going to buy real estate, remodel, fix up real estate, or even just own real estate, manage your own prop. Maybe you decide to build your own portfolio as opposed to, teaming up with an equity partnership or something like that. If you decide to build, create, and manage your own portfolio, or you want to get in the business of flipping houses or building houses or anything like that, use a general contractor, use a builder, use a reputable contractor, use a reputable builder. It's very important that you work with a general contractor that's, licensed, registered, insured. Make sure you have the insurance. And again, when you're working with a general contractor, use proper documentation, use your contractor's agreements, that sets the expectations for both parties. You want to have everything in writing. You want to have agreements. We typically use a general contractor's agreement. We use a contractor's agreement, for, basic turnovers, things like that. It sets the expectations. It keeps records of what's to be done, what's been done on the property, and save that documentation. Make sure you have, proper file storage. Save that for many years down the road. You never know when an issue could arise, or you want to keep track of your records. When it comes time to file your taxes, and you're taking certain deductions, you're taking certain expenses. You want to have record of the things that were done, the things that you're deducting or you're taking as expenses. So it's very important to keep those records. And again, with that contractor's agreement, with that general contractor's agreement, you should have your attorney prepare it, or at least review it, and be sure, assure you that, you're covered there. Both you're covered and your general contractor is covered. It'll save you, time, could potentially save you time and aggravation down the road. So, and insurance, make sure your general contractor is insured. If you're going to get into the business of, flipping houses, or, building houses, or, building homes, working with that licensed, reputable general contractor is key. The last thing you want to do, you want to run your business like a business. I've seen this many times, where somebody gets into the business, they find a home that they're gonna flip, and then they hire some handyman, or a guy with a pickup truck, or maybe he doesn't even have a car, just some guy that knows how to do stuff, and then there's no contractor's agreement. There's a verbal payment schedule. There's a verbal scope of work, and then it leads to nightmares down the road. They get halfway through the job, and then they overpaid the guy, ran off the job, or the guy gets upset because oh well, you said this, no you said that. It's why it's very important to have an understanding up front when the job starts in writing. Here's the expectations. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the scope of work. Here's the contractor's agreement. Here's the payment schedule. Contractor requests a payment. Okay. Are the items that were in the scope of work under that payment schedule, were they complete? So documentation is key. It saves everybody time. It saves everybody aggravation. That's for general contractors. If you're going to bring in subcontractors, plumbers, electrician, HVAC, make sure those are licensed subcontractors that, again, are properly insured. You have to keep in mind that when you're in this business, I mean, it's very important that you're using professionals to fix and rehabilitate these homes, because let's face it. I mean, people's lives depend on it. If somebody goes in there and does an inadequate repair, or does a cheap quick fix on something that should have been replaced, or they fix something wrong, and then there's an issue, God forbid there's a fire, or there's something that happened in that home, or somebody gets hurt. I mean, people's lives are at risk here. So using those professionals to rehabilitate these homes, it's key. I mean, it's an absolute must. You can't run a business without using professionals. Not only does it save you time, aggravation, and additional energy that you could be avoided if there's issues, but again, it goes back to what I've talked about: safety and security, both from an investment standpoint and, people's lives, people's homes. I mean, you want people to be safe and secure in their home, in the home that they're renting from you, or they're leasing from you, or the home that they're buying from you. And yeah, when you sell a home, there's going to be a home warranty. Maybe there's a warranty through your general contractor, through your builder, but that warranty is only as good as the person standing behind the warranty. So using reputable general contractors, it's an absolute must. I mean, you can't skimp out there. If your deal doesn't support the price points, well, guess what? It's not a deal. Go find something else. If you get into a project and you got to use the fly by night handyman, or the one man band or something, the guy that's not insured, that's working that wants you to pay him cash, terrible. Don't even go down that path. Terrible idea. There's too many liabilities there. There's too many risks involved. It's an absolute must that you have to work with professionals. So that's it. Attorneys, general contractors, subcontractors. The next in my opinion, that professionals to work with is real estate agents. I am not a licensed real estate agent. I have a few licensed real estate agents that work out of my office. But if you're going to get into the business of selling homes, whether it's new builds that you're going to build, or if you're going to be a flipper, rehabber, flipper, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to buy a home, fix it up, and then sell it on the open market, you want to work with a professional real estate agent. In my opinion, that real estate agent has to be full-time, not your grandma, not your aunt, not your sister-in-law, not somebody that is a real estate agent that works a different job and has a real estate agent has a real estate license, or is a licensed real estate agent so they can supplement their income. You want a full-time real estate agent, somebody that knows the business, knows the markets, and of course, you want somebody that's a top producer, that's somebody that's going to have the ability and the resources to market that property and sell that property quick for you, because time is money in this business. If you're a rehabber, you may have some debt against that property. You got to pay taxes, you got to pay insurance, and the quicker you can cycle those properties, obviously, it reduces your risk and, increases your income. So it's not a favor thing. I mean, you don't want to put your money and your liabilities at risk because you want to do your Aunt Sally a favor and give her the listing so she can get the commission. It's a business. Run your business like a business. It's an absolute must. And then, that's it for real estate agents. Make sure they're full-time. In my opinion, make sure they're a top producer, and two, make sure they understand the business. I mean, make sure, my opinion, if you're selling new construction, if you're selling, a remodeled home, you have to, if you're trying to pre-sell something, especially, you have to be working with somebody that understands the process, that understands what's involved with construction as far as time frames and commitments and the ability to, do upgrades and make changes and things like that. You have to work with somebody that understands that, if a potential buyer on a pre-sale, comes to them and says, well, can I do this with the home? It's like, they have to know that, like, no, you can't blow the roof off, add a third story, and put a rooftop deck on when you're selling the home for $200,000. No, it doesn't. You can't do that. So working with an agent that has some understanding of construction and the process and price points and just the business as a whole is important to me, and I feel it should be important to you as well. Number 5 is professionals that I highly recommend you work with is accountants. You want to, when you start your business and you start creating something, you start doing some volume of deals, you start building a portfolio, you want to work with the right accountant. You want to work with a real estate accountant, an accountant that understands real estate and business and is aware of all the deductions and the advantages that go along with owning real estate. You want to work with that accountant both on the front end, in conjunction with your attorney, to set up the proper structure for your business depending on your investment strategy. And then when it comes time for the tax returns, you want to have that accountant that's going to be aggressive, in my opinion, aggressive with what you can do as far as deductions and expenses. Legal, of course, but I prefer an accountant that's knowledgeable and aggressive. Because when it comes to taxes, obviously we'll want to pay our fair share of taxes, but you don't want to overpay. If there's deductions that are out there that are available, if you're spending money on your properties, if you're reinvesting in your properties, reinvesting in your business, there's expenses, there's things that you make sure that those expenses and those investments are accounted for properly. Because when it comes to taxes, and accounting, if you're a business owner, run your business like a business. Work with the proper accountant. Don't try to file your own taxes. I've never once tried to file my own taxes. 1, because I don't understand it. 2, I don't want to bother it with it. And 3, I know that somebody can do that job far better than I ever could. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try to do surgery on myself. So, I'm not an accountant. Why would I try to do my own tax returns? So that's my opinion. That's my take. Again, it's an absolute must. When you're in the business, you have to work with professionals. It boils down to this: you get what you pay for. You want to buy a house, you want to do a half-ass job, you're going to end up with a half-ass product. You get what you pay for. You work with professionals. You work with a good general contractor. You're going to get a good product. You work with a good attorney. You're going to have good documents. You work with good subcontractors. Your home's going to be safe. Your investment's going to be safe. The work's going to be done properly. You work with good real estate agents. You're going to have better results than if you work with somebody that just happens to be a licensed real estate agent. You work with a good accountant. You're going to have a better outcome, on your on your business as a whole. So you get what you pay for. It's an absolute must that you run your business like a business. And again, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Don't ever forget that.